3, 2, 1, go.
Hello there. Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Forest podcast, a podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd-related media. Today, we will be starting our first series talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, starting with parts 1 and 2, which was fantastic. But joining us in this discussion, we have Gerry the Canon Junkie from Bombadcast. Welcome, Gerry. So nice to have you.
Welcome.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Nani. Thank you, Goose. Thank you, Mo. I am so happy to finally be here and talk with all you lovely, amazing human beings about such a fantastic piece of media. You know what? I'm going to stop because I talk too much. So go. Thank you for having me.
No, please. I mean, it's great. It's great to have you. Yeah. It's great to have you because for me, it's like, I think we originally were going to do our guests. We were going to do a different order, but then after celebration, it was just like, hey, what better way you kind of start than to be like, hey, celebration friends, like, isn't celebration a wonderful, beautiful place where you just like, not only can you see a bunch of really cool Star Wars reveals and panels and all that other regular fun stuff, but all the connections and friendships that you make along the way. So it's just like, we had always obviously followed you and the Bombadcast on Twitter for the longest time, but, you know, we interacted and that's in that sphere, but there wasn't that as much of a connection as until we went to Much Eisley and Emo Night. And then it's just like, I was just like, wait, is Gerry like singing the same songs I'm singing in the same passionate way that I am? And it's just like, I felt it was like Step Brothers. I was just like, are we friends now?
Right.
Yep.
Totally. We bonded so much that night because we kept finding each other in that giant writhing mass of a crowd, which was, it reminded me of because I used to be in bands like back in the day and everything. And so like, I go to a lot of shows and I don't do that. I haven't been to a show like that in an embarrassing amount of years that I don't want to mention because, you know, how old I would feel. But that fed my soul. And I can't tell you how many times that me and Goose were like scream singing in each other's faces. It was so good. We're like, yeah, Fall Out Boy, yeah. They played all the hits. I was saying they played some pretty good little in betweens there too. Some
I was surprised though. I thought they kept it. They kept. I mean, obviously it's pop punk, but they kept it a lot of pop. I thought they were gonna do more deep cuts and like you know, more Midwestern bands and like you know, more on indie pop punk and emo. But it was good. It was good. And they did Bohemian Rhapsody, which the minute they started doing Bohemian Rhapsody, my mind goes to Mo and Nani. I was just like, oh my god, because that's the song that all three of us always sing together as well. And we're like in our houses and just singing. So it's just like I was like, I wish you were here. But anyway, we can keep going reminiscing about celebration. But today is not that episode. Today is Obi-Wan Kenobi parts 1 and parts 2. Holy shit! You saw it though at the celebration stage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
How was that experience to see it early with Ewan and getting Frosted Flakes and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, it was great. You know, I mean, I don't think Ewan really appreciated me, like, you know, putting my like hugging him the entire time. No, he was all the way across the stadium. Don't worry, you know, because that's why. Because I would have been like, oh, man, I'm just so happy to be with you right now. Like that's you. But I mean, what can I say? It was right. I was already doing that with my lovely co-host and like one of the best friends I've ever had, Scotty Jero, right next to me. Scotty's fiance, Katie, who is also one of my good friends, and then my good friends. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Okay, you know what? You win.
For those that are not watching, Goose has a beautiful picture. With the
beautiful Ewan.
You know how much wonders this did for my ego when I stand next to Ewan McGregor. I'm like, you're not that much taller.
Like, hey. Oh yeah. It's like It's okay. You're a nice, you're a normal sized person. Okay. Yeah. You're not.
It's the other people. The other people are freaks.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, no, I was beside Dan and Chris of Proaxium and Michael McCoy. If you know, I don't know if anyone knows him. He is a big Trioculus fan. Anyway, we were all a mass of like, hugs and like, just arms and like grabbing each other at different points, just like gasping. And it was probably the best experience I've had watching something Star Wars since. Oh my God. No, I'm gonna say it. Since Revenge of the Sith, not Return of the Jedi. I'm not that old. Because Force Awakens was great and everything, but I was watching it with my ex and stuff, and that, like we were, she wasn't as into it as I was, whatever. It's fine, God bless her heart for putting up with it. But like to be with people and this, and again, not to get too much into it, this show to me not only met my expectations, it kind of, for me, blew them out of the water. Like it's in the best way possible. I mean, I can't believe what we've gotten just the first 2 episodes. So just to experience that with people I've come to know over the past couple of years, gotten very close with. It felt like watching Endgame, but Star Wars. It's the best thing. It's the best thing that's happened in a long time. And not that. Listen, if I could make COVID go away, I would. But like, having these amazing people that we've bonded through this horrible tragedy and all this kind of stuff, it made it feel like at least I have this. Like this is something good. That
not to say that it was good, but it's a silver lining. Yeah.
Right. It's a silver lining. I don't want to say it was worth it because, like, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was wild. Also, red carpet, surprisingly plush. Just saying. Just gotta say.
So good on the feet, better than walking on the concrete.
I wanted to cover the entire con floor in red carpet. I'm like, why don't they do this? I mean, come on.
They should. It's a no-brainer at this point.
Save some corns, like yeah. Anyway.
Make it happen. Just make it happen.
Yeah,
they got the money. They got the Lucasfilm money.
Of course,
they got the Disney money.
They've got it for real. Make it happen. Come on, Lucasfilm. Next time, or Reed Pop. Come on, roll out the red carpet for us.
It's like Pink Milk and Trial of the Force are going to write a strongly worded letter. We were panelists, so it's just like, hey, so we must have some pull now. So we'll get it done in London. Exactly. Mo, how about you? What was your impression? I think you saw it today, so you have it fresh in your mind. What was that experience of seeing the beautiful Lord Jesus Christ, aka Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yes,
it was beautiful. I just love, like, it almost seems like you're watching like artwork like come to life in this like how the shots are being made, the whole like the direction of like the sequences, everything that's being portrayed. It's all so beautifully like established. I just you feel so immersed. You feel you're actually there, which is like which is something a lot of shows and especially on TV and series kind of like miss. Like you usually like, oh yeah, I'm watching a TV show, but this, it feels like you're there once again with like Obi-Wan and everything that's happening, and it's nostalgic, but it's also very like forward looking. I think it does rely, it has to rely a little bit on everything that we saw in the prequels and everything that those that happened. So there is like a little bit of that, like, okay, you have to be a little bit invested to understand what's going on. I saw it with my mom and my sister, and my sister was a little bit like confused because last time she saw the prequels was like when she was younger, so it's like
but they did that little recap at the beginning. They help ground it a little bit.
Yeah, it's grounded, but it's still I think they did a good like in between of like making sure that somebody who's new sort of like understand what's going on, and I can see like somebody like, but then it doesn't feel heavy or like too loaded for somebody that already knows what happens. It's almost like, oh, it's like you're grateful to see it from another angle instead of like it's the same story, but you get to see it from a different angle
without being like repetitive.
Exactly. So and you know, I'm glad like I think the best character so far is Reba. That's
yes,
like hands down. Like,
and we would have said that
sorry,
regardless. Would have said it regardless of anything that's happening.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what's happening. I just, you know, that's what I felt like. It, like their presence, everything that's going, like it's like yes, like you're portraying a little bit what you would expect, like somebody like Kylo Ren to portray, like somebody that's going to the dark side a little, like and that's I think it's somebody that's like relentless, and it just shows. And I just want to know what's their past and about their story. And Disney's de-aging Mark Hamill has begun great. You know, I applaud them. I want to keep seeing that.
Yeah, they just shrank him down into like a so good that they just make him a little tiny person. Holy crap. And honey, oh sorry, Mo.
Yeah, no, just gonna say like keep at it.
Yes. And Nani, how about you? What did you think?
I
know we texted a little bit, so I got like a little candid reaction there the day after. But what about your complete thoughts?
So I honestly didn't really know what to expect. Originally, when they announced it, I was like, stop going back to all the old characters. But this one is Obi-Wan and it's Ewan McGregor, and he was one of the best parts of the prequel trilogy. So it's like, okay, I'm okay with it. I just don't know what angle they're going to take. I only watched the first teaser and didn't watch anything else because I hate spoilers. And then me and Hosbando just, you know, sat there like, let's wait, see what happens. First of all, that little recap they did of the prequels was fantastic. I'm not the biggest
beautiful
fan. And it tied together the story so well, goosebumps and everything. And I've never been the biggest fans of the prequels. I've grown to love them over the years. But watching that little recap, I was like, okay. Condensed like that, especially, you know, it brings the impact, and then the story starts. And obviously that first time you see Obi-Wan and he's like this depressed hermit caught up from the Force, and it's so strange to see, and the development of the character. And then, like Mo was saying, the look of it, I don't think Star Wars has ever felt so big. Even in the movie, sometimes like the world just seems very large and very inclusive, and it's very real. And what I never expected, and I think we were all shocked, was baby Leia. Oh my God.
Baby Leia.
Oh
baby
man.
Yoda, baby Leia. Holy crap.
Don't get me started. Oh man.
It blew me
precious
of the water. I couldn't believe it. Like that one moment that you see that they're braiding her hair and everything, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be about Leia, not Luke. How did we not think about this? Because we always think, oh, Obi-Wan, obviously it's going to be something to do with Luke. Even though Luke only knows him as Ben Kenobi, but whatever, they'll figure something out. And suddenly it's like, oh my God, Leia. Because she's a badass and never gets her legit, I mean, she's just as much of a badass as Luke ever was, and she doesn't get her due. And the fact that they're doing this now is fantastic. And then this little girl, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know if they sat her and made her watch the original trilogy over and over and over, or she just somehow managed to channel the soul of Carrie Fisher, because oh my God, she is so good. The way she moves, the way she runs, jumps, the way she speaks, everything. I think Carrie Fisher would have loved her so much. It makes me really sad that she won't be able to see this, but it blew me away how amazing this little girl is. It's so good. So good.
Yeah. I definitely want to piggyback on that, because it's interesting in hindsight, because I remember when the trailers came out and everyone's just like, oh, Obi-Wan's leaving Tatooine. It's like, what could be more important than Luke for him to leave Tatooine? And everyone's like, well, he has to help another Jedi. And everyone's just like 1,000 theories, myself
Nobody
included.
thought about
it. And no one thinks about, I've never saw something on the internet. And if you were that one guy on Reddit, congratulations. You don't have to rub it in my face.
Way to go.
But exactly. It's like, you were the one guy. Okay. It's statistics. One person's going to get it right. But all of a sudden when the camera swipe or whatever, and all of a sudden we're in Alderaan, I'm like, what the fucking hell is this? We're actually going to Alderaan, and it's Bail Organa and his little baby Leia. I'm like, this is so obvious.
With
like,
her
how
little baby braids,
little baby and like, little baby comebacks. I'm just like, oh my god! I was just like, this
little
is
baby droid.
I love it. Yes.
Oh man. God. And I had seen someone say like something about that droid, maybe on Twitter or something, like just wait till you see who owns that droid, who that droid belongs to. I forget when. I don't know if it was like a comment on something I posted or something else I saw, but like, whoever you were, again, I'd have to look it back up. You were correct. You were correct. I did not guess it and was completely blown away and delighted. And oh man, you know, and I am a dad. I'm a girl dad. You know, I've got a little girl, and I was a puddle of tears whenever it cut to young Leia. And it's like, this is about Leia and her being strong, her doing what she wants to do, and that little droid is called Lola, and that it's hers. And I'm like, oh man, that moment with Leia and Bail on the balcony. I mean, just like I did not stop crying. I'm like, I cannot wait to show this to her when she's 5 right now, so maybe like another couple of years. But because I mean, it's a little darker than a lot of the shows, I feel like too. In some ways. But
shout out to Jimmy Smits too, because we got to always do the Puerto Rican shout out. He was like, "Hey, more of him all the time, especially in Star Wars."
Right. Well, and I don't know if you saw it when he came out. Like he came out at the someone probably got a video of it at the premiere. He came out. I mean, he was like a basketball coach out there. Like, I mean, he was dancing. He had so much energy. The man was electric. He's so excited to be there. And I can't tell you how dearly I love Jimmy Smits. He's such a treasure. But anyway, man,
that scene was so good. And I love the fact that they're already establishing early on how droids are so loyal to her because she loves them back. Like that whole conversation with her cousin, that's like, oh my god, you say thank you to your droids.
Right.
You know, the thing is with her cousin, I don't know if like the writers like did it on purpose or not, but especially after all the discourse on Twitter that's going on right now, I wouldn't be surprised if like they coded her cousin to be all the Twitter trolls. And he's just so despicable. And I'm just like, can we just maybe go Game of Thrones and just push this kid off a balcony?
And she's so good. Like she's like this big and he like towers over her. And he's saying like, why would you communicate with lower beings? It's like, then I shouldn't be able to communicate with you. I mean,
which is the most Leia thing to say.
I know. It's so good. It's so good.
Well, like it was like her talking to Vader and stuff, but even it's so much sweeter. I'm sorry, this was so much. It tasted so damn good. I'm so may I curse? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Feel free.
All right, hell yeah. Anyway, but no, that absolutely just was so I savored that whole interaction with him was. From then on, I'm like, she is Leia. Like, I was sold from the first moment, but that was like, she is Carrie Leia. Fisher.
Yep.
I'm telling you exactly, like, I know what you are. And not to get ahead, but like, you know, there's that line later, she tells Obi-Wan something, and Obi-Wan goes, how old are you?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
it's interesting, yeah.
So impressed by her. It's like, who are you?
Right.
I've seen a lot of people like complain because Star Wars fans sometimes are the worst. Well, the ones that don't go to Celebration just complain about everything and then complain about little baby Leia, and I'm like, really, you're gonna like Queen Amidala was a queen at 14 years old, so you don't think that she had that toot? And it's just like, have you not seen the original trilogy with like Carrie Fisher doing clapbacks to every single person? It's like, this is the most in character Star Wars has probably ever done and casted, because it's just perfection. That is exactly what I would imagine baby Leia would have been, especially if they had been actual baby Carrie Fisher cast as baby Leia. So like it's impossible to have gotten better than that. So
it's so good.
It just proves that you can do the perfect piece of Star Wars lore, and some fans will just shit on it just because it's Star Wars.
And may I just cut a promo real quick that like we sat, listen, I couldn't do anything when you guys harassed little Jake Lloyd and everything. But I'll be damned.
Yeah.
I'll be damned if you do the same thing to this little girl. We are gonna fight tooth and nail for that little one's spirit. My God, she is perfect and fantastic. Her talking with Hayden Christensen. I don't know if you've seen that picture going around Twitter. Like that just warms my heart. Anyway, yeah, stay the hell away from young Leia. Like she's a joy. Please leave that. I'm sorry, I forgot the actor.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like, oh shit.
What's the actor's name?
Oh,
I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to look at that. Yeah.
Look it up.
Great.
Must be protected out. No, it's beautiful. Like it makes total sense. Like, you know, you're being trained to be a senator. Like, of course, at that age, like kids are like sponges. They're amazing. And if you treat them like adults, like they are, like treat them as equals, and they'll respond as equals. Like that's the whole beauty of it. Like just showing how there's wisdom within children. Like,
definitely.
Vivian Lyra Blair. That is her name.
Such a pretty name. Anyway, sorry.
I know, yeah.
She's fantastic. She's fantastic. Yeah, you're gonna have to go through us, is what we're saying. Before you get to her. Just saying. But just maybe just calm down, touch some grass, have a drink, and it'll all be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. But anyway,
she's fierce and brave and stubborn and fantastic and so full of love,
resourceful too.
Oh
and fearless. She's like, oh wait, Obi-Wan's the one that's actually gonna kidnap me. Let me just run away in this planet that I don't know anything about. I was just like, holy crap, I would never do that. At her age, I would just like sit in a corner.
You're a Jedi. Prove it to me. You're you're the reason I'm here. Trap card, run away. I mean,
yep, exactly. It's
super smart, thinking on her feet. It's amazing.
Right. I'm so excited for my. I'm sorry.
No, keep going.
Oh well, it was just like for my 5-year-old daughter. To have like any strong character like this, and Leia was always a strong character, but to have her at such a young age be such a strong character still means maybe I'm putting a lot into it. It means a lot to me that she has that now. That's there. This stuff is very important, and it needs to be out there. And anyway, more of this Lucasfilm. Keep going. Go even farther.
Lucasfilm have been dropping the ball, I think, for like a couple of years, I think. But like it seems that I don't know what social media manager they hired, or if there's a revolution going on inside the company. But it feels like they're doubling down and being like, no, we can't keep silent. We can't keep pandering. We have to take a stand. And I think they can do better, because you can all of us can do better. But I really appreciate that they're finally standing up and like doing what they need to do. So keep it going.
I mean, it's incredibly powerful, because when I was growing up, only the original trilogy was out, and you know, all you had was Leia, who is amazing, but not all girls want to be princesses. Some of the girls want to, have a lightsaber or be running around, and to have Leia, this young version of Leia, who's like kind of against being a senator because she wants to have adventure and wants to have this different life, which eventually she'll realize that the best way for her to be effective is through the Senate. And we know she's a senator, but a rebel at the same time. And then eventually she becomes our general. So having seen her, through Carrie Fisher, and now as a 10-year-old badass, it's so powerful for women and girls and everybody, really, because not all the usual characters always have to be so powerful. And then it's kind of hilarious to compare that everybody always thinks,
because power is different for everybody, right? Her power comes from a different place.
Yeah, but I think it's always hilarious that we always think about Luke. I mean, we always think about Leia too, but Luke is always like at the forefront. Who's gonna show up to save Grogu? It's gonna be Luke. Who's gonna show up to do this? And then we see this comparison now that Luke at 10 is literally like sitting around pretending to like race. And here's Leia already being like a senator and,
getting kidnapped and holding her own.
Yep. Right.
Yep.
Oh, man.
But now that you had said something, though, about and Mo, you touched upon it, too, about the production of the show, which is something that has really blown my mind a lot, because not to say that Book of Boba or Mando don't look fantastic. They look absolutely gorgeous, and they are very cinematic in the scope of like how the show is shot and the VFX and all that stuff. But at least for me, especially with Mando, season 2. Like it sometimes felt like they hadn't quite gotten the hang of how to use the volume, and sometimes all the sets just looked like the same. It's just like a corridor, and we're just walking down the same street and just filming that one street from different angles. So it made, even though it looked gorgeous, it still felt very small. And now with Obi-Wan, it just again has like that, like the
Huge.
Prequels or the original trilogy. It feels like a world. You don't feel like you're in the volume anymore. So it's kind of like the natural extension of like if they had made like an episode 3.5, and I mean technically Rogue One, right? But you know what I mean. This show just filmed exactly. This show is filmed. It feels filmically as a spiritual successor to those. It doesn't feel like a show. It feels like a movie, and that's just like blows my mind for like it's a series of this scale to just in a couple of years just transcend what the technology was able to do just a couple of years back with Mando season 2. I don't know if you guys had anything to add to that.
Well, I mean, and you've already seen 2 distinct planets, and we're gonna get a third one clearly for the 3rd episode already. So it's at this point, every single time you think you've seen what the volume can really do, they just exceed it over and over. So like you were saying, I have no idea. I think it's only good things coming in the future. And then the soundtrack was fantastic as well.
Oh, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. How about that theme though? Like for Kenobi. Like and that's like I feel like I'm like I was at the overflow room for that pedal. So I was among the first to hear that John Williams theme, and that John Williams theme for Obi-Wan is so like reminiscent of the episode of A New Hope, yet it's still so, I don't know, it's prequely, it's sad while being hopeful. It's it's one of the most beautiful things he's written in recent years. I think that maybe that's 100%. Controversial. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
good. It's so good.
It's John Williams. I don't think anyone's gonna. I think everyone knows that like everything the man does it's just a work of genius.
Solid.
And it sounds like Obi-Wan because it combines like all of his different eras into this one theme, and it just works. And every time you hear it like crescendo, and as it is combined with the rest of the music, like and sometimes you'll hear like actual strings and notes from the original trilogy music, and some from the prequel trilogy just like kind of added in between. And I remember I would pause and like rewind a little bit. It's like, wow, that is so seamless. So I don't know, I'm just really excited. I didn't know what to expect. I was blown away. We're only 2 episodes in, and look how much we've gotten already. So
But to that point, I mean, I wanted to say real quick with prequel trilogy connections, like what about that cameo from Temuera as like a clone trooper? I was just like, wait, did they actually put Tem here and put him an actual clone armor for the first time?
I had to look it up to be sure that it was him. I was like, what? And
the man hit solid gold, man.
And in the moment that it happened, because Obi-Wan's just speaking out to the universe, like if there's a time to send me a sign, do it now. And then you see the helmet. Could you spare something for an old veteran? And then you just see him in clone armor, just the beard, the hair, everything. And it's like, and you can see the pain in Obi-Wan's face, and you can kind of see that he might recognize him, but just keeps his mouth shut. The whole thing was it's very good how they're tying in everything from Clone Wars and everything together. So, which
for me is just confirmation that he's gonna be Commander Cody and gonna be Captain Rex.
Yes,
just like,
we're gonna get Captain Rex. We're gonna get it all.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
I've been waiting so long for them to bring Temuera back. Since we're in the Temuera Zance, okay?
Yeah,
it's happening. Celebration was basically Temuera Morrison celebration. Honestly, the man, like we were that last day when he came out on the Star Wars live show stage, we were like right by the TIE fighter, and he comes out doing the haka, and like, I mean, the man is an absolute gem. And I'm gonna protect him at all costs too. He doesn't need protection because he can he can probably beat the shit out of a lot of people. But anyway,
I'm pretty sure he could.
He's so fantastic.
He's Boba been lifting now.
So
He's ready.
Yeah.
So good for him. But let's move into like something darker though a little bit. We've talked about the hope of Leia and Obi-Wan and everything that's going on. But Mo, you talked about Reva a little bit. Why don't we talk about the Inquisitors so far? Mo, what was your reaction to not just Reva, because I think you mentioned that she's amazing and we must protect Moses Ingram at all costs. Yes. But the Grand Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor and the Fifth Brother, and that apparent death that is so controversial right now. Oh, what did you think of that?
It's interesting because, like, I think they didn't shine as much as they could have. I don't know if they might. It could be just they're tainted from like Rebels and like what I expected, like them to be, to me. So they were all just like overshadowed by just Reva and like everything that's going, like that character's arc seems like so leading into like what you expect from like a dark side character. There's like, I don't know if there's like maybe like an essence from like maybe like Asajj a little bit in there, like there's this whole like aspect of like this character trying to define themselves through the dark side, and you know I'm a sucker for that. So, and especially being portrayed in such a manner, and then you know, heck, I'm fine with killing the Inquisitor. Maybe that's gonna be like that's
his
gonna
twin
be
brother.
Like yeah, maybe they just find another brother and be like, oh, you're the grand, or we find another clone, and this one
yeah,
has a
they clone they
like,
right. If Palpatine can do it,
yeah, so you can solve that plenty of ways. I mean, like if Anakin is still alive, a lot of people come back.
Yeah.
So.
At this point, we can assume that Star Wars characters are really hard to kill, and they don't usually die in the ways that we think that they do. So,
I mean, we're gonna have Cat Beth, so it happens.
Yeah.
It's interesting because people are complaining about something that we don't know the resolution to. It's she stabbed him, but how many people have gotten stabbed and just survived? It's just like, and lots of people are also saying that Lucasfilm is once again disrespecting canon and disregarding Rebels, and I'm like, are you kidding me? The amount of love that Rebels is getting right now, especially with this little show that I don't know if people have heard of called Ahsoka, and that's bringing back Sabine's, bringing back Hera, the ghosts are gonna go find Ezra. Do you think that Lucasfilm is not honoring Rebels? If I mean, they're come on, they are very aware. Filoni is doing, and Matt Martin and everyone at Lucasfilm is like in charge of the canon. They're aware. So there's obviously a payoff that's gonna happen here. So it's too early to cry wolf right now. And I think people are just too concerned. Gerry, what was your reaction to when you saw the Grand Inquisitor get stabbed? And what do you think is going to happen?
Stabby stab.
Well, I mean, stab. I love that. No, listen, like I actually just had the thought, just to touch on something that you guys were bringing up a second ago, like the whole thing about we are only 2 episodes in. And everyone's like, "Oh, they killed him!" Like again, like it's like people forget how to watch a TV show. Yeah, it's like you're not a week to week television. I'm not gonna do the like boomer thing and be like, "Hey, all this day of content releasing the whole season's ruined everybody." I'm not gonna do that. And I just did. But like, just calm down. Like you're supposed to be left in suspense and go, "Wait, what's going on?" And Lucasfilm respects the animated shows. They just don't respect the novels or the comics canon. Yeah. That's it. I mean, they kind of do. Oh, I'll stop. I'm sorry.
It's fair. We can criticize and be constructive.
Right. Right. Well, like I mean, it doesn't bother me. Like, there's been a couple of things that they've done different than those things, and I'm okay. But like, yeah, it is. Anyway, all that being said, people smarter than myself have said some very interesting theories that they have, and I mean, I'll share a couple of my favorites. I mean, one, I can't remember who it came from, so I'll start with that one. And shout out to you, lovely friend. I know you're definitely in my friend circle, so I'll give you the props later. But in Rebels, before he lets go, like after when he's hanging on after his duel with Kanan, he says there are some fates worse than death, and then falls into that reactor, whatever is burning. And then we see him. He keeps popping up in different places. He pops up for Luke, right? Like in the comics, I believe. Maybe we get. So I'm kind of hoping they go this direction. Maybe we get some weird Sith magic in live action. Maybe we get some weird esoteric, like, Mother Talzin type shit. And I'm all for that. I'm very, very, very about the weird Force stuff, the light side. And I love the esoteric, very much like the esoteric, like you read about like magicians and people who like magic with a K and all that kind of stuff that people like in real life have tried. And they really draw from that kind of like alchemy and things like that. I like the space alchemy, weird space black magic. Please give me that in live action. I would love it. But also the other thing I heard, and this is, I'll give credit to Michael McCoy of All Remaining Systems, a good friend. He was at Celebration, fantastic individual. He said that he thinks that what they're going to do is they're going to have the Grand Inquisitor sidelined because of this. He's going to be in the back of the tank, and you're going to have, that way you have the Inquisitors, or the Inquisitorius, are going to start going after Reva,
right?
And she's chasing after Obi-Wan, so it's going to be kind of like a cat and mouse and cheese, or whatever the mouse is after, I guess, things like that. But which I find very intriguing as well, and stuff like that. And there's different things that you can do with that. But yeah, I do lean towards. And my apologies to Michael. I love you, buddy. But I lean more towards the weird space Sith magic. I want the weird Sith magic, frankly. I think that would be kind of cool. And it would make that line, it would give that line more weight. It already has a ton of weight. Like the writing in Rebels is fantastic, right? I mean, But yeah, there are some fates worse than death. Give me that. Get all in it. I don't care. I want to see it. Please, 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 please. So,
and I'm pretty sure that when you mentioned that he shows up to Luke in one of the comics, I think it is. I don't read the comics, so I don't know for sure. I was talking about this with my husbando, and apparently when he shows up to Luke, he explains that Darth Vader like keeps his soul trapped to protect like some Sith artifact or something. So I mean, he might be a slave to Darth Vader.
Can you imagine seeing Hayden Christensen as Vader,
like
doing that Palpatine thing? Yeah. Oh, so good.
I would be all for that. All for that.
Yeah. Nani, we're gonna be like, bowing down the TV. Yes, thank you. This is so cool.
You went weird and magical and everything.
Yes.
And
please.
And there's a lot there too, because we have Darth Vader, like Hayden Christensen is in it, and Reva is clearly like obsessed with him. She has this like need to prove herself. Like it's not necessarily about being an Inquisitor, it's about proving herself worthy to Darth Vader. And I hate her as a character because she's played so well. Because that is the mark of any great actor, that a villain, when you actually start hating a villain, you're doing your job well. So anybody who's criticizing the way she acts, like, go to hell, honestly, because it is amazing. Frankly. I mean, she exudes this just level of Sith arrogance that just kind of just leaks off of her. And everybody's like, why are you being so reckless? Why are you being so this? And that's exactly how Anakin always was, just impulsive and your way takes too long. I have to do it this way. And I mean, she is clearly surpassing her own bosses. That's why the Grand Inquisitor himself was like, let me show you how it's done. I'm the one who lured him here. I'm not letting you take all the credit. Fuck you. I will stab you.
This is my catch.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, and how amazing did she look running around the city trying to catch him? I mean, she's...
Oh, that was so cool.
Incredibly cool. Oh, by the way, I think this is one of the times that the lightsabers has felt more real than ever. This, like, the sound behind them sounds like really impactful, and the way they shoot those scenes. Like they get really close sometimes to those lightsabers and they feel heavy and weighty.
Wait till Obi-Wan turns on his lightsaber. It'll be just.
I know.
I forgot we hadn't done that yet.
I know. All episodes, I was like, turn it on, turn it on, turn it on.
Well, he was going to like in the in part 2, and then it's just like no, and I'm like, ah.
At least he used the Force, which was amazing.
Yes.
Oh,
and
that was so good.
You could see how much it cost him because you can tell that he caught himself off from the Force. So it was just like that meaningful moment. And then she's like so in shock. Oh,
but it's even more meaningful to me because it's the payoff for when they meet and she's asking him to, I want to float.
Yeah, I know.
Make
me float.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And then it's like the reversal. It's like, I don't want, shit. And he's like, okay, I'm going to make you float now. And so it's like that whole scene just inverted. I'm just like, that's good job. I like it.
And he's called out to Qui-Gon a couple of times.
Deborah Shaw, man. Oh, when he said master and the cave, I'm like, we're getting it. We're getting it.
Yeah, I was like,
he's showing up. Liam Neeson's showing up.
He's coming.
It needs to happen.
Yes.
You know, besides the setup from the show, you know what else made me just 100% 99% certain that Liam Neeson is going to be on this show? I was at the Tales of the Jedi panel and they were announcing everything and then they screened the first episode. But when they were talking about the rest of the show, there's going to be it's going to be 2 story arcs. It's going to be Ahsoka and Count Dooku, and he was a Jedi still. So it's going to be when he was like a master to Qui-Gon Jinn, and Filoni was talking about who's going to be the voice for Qui-Gon Jinn, and then he announced it's going to be Liam Neeson. And I'm like, that kind of contradicts a little something that Liam Neeson said a couple months ago, that if he ever came back to Star Wars, it would only have to be on a movie because he's too much of a snob. And I'm like, well, sir, you played yourself because now you're in an animated show. So if you're coming into an animated show, you are definitely in this live action show. So
well, like that's on YouTube as well, right? Or is it where are those going to air? The Tales of the Jedi, is that on Disney?
Oh, Disney Plus, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't. Yeah. So therefore, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're exactly right.
And when they did the little recap of the prequels, they made sure to add in that scene of Yoda telling Obi-Wan that while he's in isolation, he should learn to commune with his master. So come on, they have to do it at this point. Come on, please. Please.
It's like that box had Obi-Wan and Anakin's lightsaber, but I want there to be like a little secret compartment with Qui-Gon's lightsaber.
Right.
So that my headcanon can be fulfilled. Because my headcanon for the longest time has been that Luke's lightsaber, the kyber crystal within it, is Qui-Gon Jinn's kyber crystal. So I'm just like, please.
That would be so cool.
I know.
Just make me, Lucasfilm, make me happy and no one else, please. Star Wars is about only me. Let's talk a little bit about pacing because Gerry, before you came on, we were talking a little bit like about our initial thoughts to the show, and we actually had some like dissenting opinions here about like how we felt the show was progressing. It's interesting because these 2 episodes have been like the longest Star Wars episodes that Disney Plus has produced so far, because Mando and Book of Boba are usually like in the 20-something 30-minute range, and these were like almost an hour and almost 45 minutes between part 1 and part 2. And for me, it was interesting because I thought they were going to be a lot slower. I thought we were going to be in Tatooine longer. But I felt that it just hit the ground running. Let's go to the action. Here's everything that we have to deal with. But some people think that it was a little slow. So Nani, since you were more vocal about that, let's start with you. Tell me about what you thought about pacing.
Well, no, it's weird because the episodes don't feel long to me. They feel like they're exactly the amount of time that you need to tell the story. I just feel that it is like a slow burn that I like. It's not a slow burn that I find boring, but it is a slow burn. So I started to get a little bit worried that, we only have 4 episodes left of this. And if we go at the same...
Well, tomorrow, 3, as we're getting a new episode.
So if we're going at the same pace, I'm wondering how much, how fulfilled we're going to feel by the end of this. Like how many of the storylines are going to be able to get fleshed out, because we're
how many Clone Wars flashbacks we're going to get.
Because we're seeing that there's a lot of characters that need fleshing out. Like Reva, I really wish that they continue to flesh her out. Young Leia, obviously this version of Obi-Wan that we haven't really met and how it transitions from the prequel Obi-Wan to the original trilogy Obi-Wan, how that really happens. Because right now we can tell he's not the centered being that he was in Rebels when he meets up with Darth Maul. He's still very depressed and cut off. And
look what I have risen above. That guy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we clearly know that he gets there, but now we're getting to see how he gets there. And the fact that he's doing it through a journey with Leia just makes me smile. I can't help it that he was such, at the end of the day, he didn't spend that much time with them, but that he was such an impactful force on both Leia and Luke just blows my mind. And it's way more than I was expecting from this show. And just with those 2 episodes, I'm happy. But obviously we have 4 more, so there's time to grow. But I do feel that it did start kind of like a slow burn.
Mo, what did you think?
Well, as a side note, I want to say that I love that it's going to be more canonically accurate that this journey is with Obi-Wan and Leia instead with Luke. Like, if not, Luke would have known who Obi-Wan is. And on A New Hope, we know that Leia seems to know Obi-Wan and like ask for Obi-Wan's help once again. So it's like it's beautifully established that way. But I do feel that that's kind of like, as Nani was saying, like that fear of like, this is supposed to be like a limited series, and then like there's a little bit like a very slow pacing. I think like a little bit like you can establish the whole like interactions like a little bit like faster. I don't know if it's just the like I want to know more of the story and it's not being fleshed out. Like I want to dive a little bit deeper into the psyche, and it's not sure if that's part of like what Nani's saying, like the slow burn until the payoff, or if they just have a small story and they're just fleshing it out as much as possible. So only time will tell. So
Gerry, how about you? How was the pacing like for you? Because I would imagine for you it's a little different because you're at celebration stage with hundreds of thousands of people. So it's just like time goes by in an hour goes by in 5 minutes. So have you been able to rewatch it and kind of like recontextualize time for the show?
So I actually rewatched it on I downloaded it so I could watch it on that 3-hour flight. And
how did I not think of that?
All of us were like, I gotta download that shit right now. Because there was no time, there was no other time. If you were at Celebration, you don't really have time to do anything else except
not
for
even
like go to the next thing. No, you eat at night possibly, or you just get filled with liquid courage and just continue. It is what it is. But
yes.
But like I don't know that, like, Nani, I get what you're saying. Like, it does feel like a slow burn, but like in a good way. But like, it also did move way. Like they got off of Tatooine way faster than I was expecting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And again, a lot of that has to do with the fantastic swerve, the best surprise I think since, and my buddy Scotty, my co-host on Bombadcast, he has the thing. He says he believes that Grogu, the reveal of Grogu, Baby Yoda, in The Mandalorian was one of the best kept secrets at Lucasfilm. Yeah. I think 100%. This honestly rivals it. Oh, yeah. This rivals it because, my God, everyone. Even if you're watching at home, you're a puddle of tears. It doesn't matter if you're like in a room full of people.
What just happened from the
because it was a triple whammy. It was like Alderaan, Jimmy Smits, Leia. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't want to get my hopes up. I'm like, okay, like I didn't know we were gonna get this. This is really cool. We did not know we were gonna get this at all. Maybe it's just gonna be like a little side thing, and then I just want to see where this goes. But that we are all in. We're all in for Leia. And anyway, I was supposed to be talking about the pacing. Now I'm talking about Leia again because I fucking love it.
We're just so in love with Leia.
Yeah.
Man, but like I haven't felt like there's been any lag at all in the show. Yeah, like everything, every ounce of this show, there's not an ounce of fat. That's bad. Whatever, padded in because I love, I love the little random references and stuff. But everything has felt important to who Obi-Wan is. It's felt important to the story of the main saga. This almost feels integral to the main saga.
Yeah.
To the fact of why you have Leia coming to, like, Bail sends her to seek out Obi-Wan, but that she's so familiar with him already that and people have been complaining, why did Han and Leia name their son Ben? I think
now we know. Yeah.
This is why, because Ben, Obi-Wan, whatever, was a big influence on her in this already. And their dynamic, and again, I'm talking about young Leia, like their dynamic, I'm sorry, is just one of the best.
So good. Yeah.
It's so fantastic. Like the reluctant dad, like almost like the Mando stuff, but like the reluctant uncle. Like, all right, come on, like you're a good kid, but you get on my nerves a little bit. We got to stay low, like so. But
that little scene when like Obi-Wan just looks down at her, like in part 2, and he is just like, oh, you just remind me of someone. And I was like,
oh my God. He's like, she's a friend of mine. She was brave and stubborn. I'm not stubborn. Yes, you are. No. It killed me. It was so good.
What is he said? She was a good leader or something.
Yeah,
and
she was.
Tears.
Yes, was your friend.
My mask was wet.
Too.
Oh my God.
For a second, I thought he was talking about Anakin. And then when she says, like, was your friend a Jedi? She was a leader. I was like,
he's like,
you killed me. Great.
Slow clap for me. Yes. Oh,
it's which makes me wonder. And this is, I think it's very unlikely, but a lot of people have been theorizing, myself included, there's going to be a flashback to the Clone Wars. And because for me, it's kind of a no-brainer in terms of like the casting of Hayden. It's like, you're not going to cast Hayden to play Vader. You're not going to see his face because we've already had Vader in films before and it hasn't been Hayden. So for me, it's just like, well, you cast Hayden because you want to see Anakin Skywalker. So now that they just like made the most overt reference to Padme and we've seen how good they are at keeping secrets, I wonder if just like one day that Natalie Portman was filming for Thor: Love and Thunder, they're just okay, they sent the files to New Zealand or Australia or wherever they're filming, loaded it up on the volume. He's like, okay, Natalie, just do a couple of scenes and then we'll splice it together with Ewan and Hayden over here. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'm saying we got the technology. It's way more possible than back in the day. Yeah. And if that happens, I'll break my TV because it'll be so much emotion. And I'll have no idea.
Kick it in half because it's like, why are you being so good to me?
Yeah. I don't deserve love.
Oh my God. So much good shit already, honestly.
So much.
Yeah. And that when you said that Obi-Wan asked her how old she is, that she's like, oh, you think you hide more by saying this, but it's the opposite.
Oh yeah, that was such a good line. I was
like, what? Oh. And people are complaining about the writing on the show. What the fuck? Honestly.
So good.
No, the writing's on point. It's just like you can tell, and like you were saying, Gerry, you can tell like they like distilled like every ounce of fat, and just like every line is just purposeful. It's like everything hits the mark. There's no like extra ands, ifs, or buts. It's like, no, this is exactly the line you need to say for this impact. It just seems so well calculated of like how they're just making every single scene. There's a lot of intentionality to it, and I'm here for it.
Absolutely.
There is one thing actually I want to check in with everybody, and it's about that small intro that they did for Obi-Wan. Because when I was seeing that intro when he's like doing the work at the fish factory, at the meat packing district,
the sandfish district,
the sandfish, and then he comes back and he's preparing like his little food in the little stove, and then he comes outside to eat it. I was just like, oh, this reminds me of another character introduction that we've seen. And I was just like, oh, maybe her name was Rey. Oh yes, because it's exactly the same introduction that Rey had in The Force Awakens, which kind of makes me wonder. I don't know about you guys. I've never been a fan of Rey Kenobi, but did you guys get Rey Kenobi vibes, seeing like the super parallel between Obi-Wan's introduction and Rey's introduction? Whoever wants to start.
I not to just jump right in, but like I don't know if I want to say like I got the Rey Kenobi vibes, like she's a Kenobi, but I definitely got the Rey vibes because I mean, and whenever the stew thing happens, it's like basically instant stew. Like I think maybe Dan or whoever right beside me, we were all like, it's like the bread, it's like the instant bread.
It's like the bread,
it's portions, but it's a different food. It's just it's space portions. It's just I don't know. It was very reminiscent of Rey, like and interesting that he's not in his little. It's not really a shack. It's like a nice, very, very nice,
it's a nice cave,
Adobe thing that he has in the trilogy, in the original trilogy. But he's not there yet. He's not in his house.
Yeah,
he's really pulled himself away.
Yeah,
and that is, it's sad, but it's also very just, it's interesting. It's just, I'm interested to see where he's going, but like he very much is like, I got the Rey vibes in that he is like completely isolated from anything and anyone. The only thing he does is he brings Luke Skywalker toys to foster his imagination and spirit.
And then Uncle Owen just breaks them.
He breaks them and brings them to him and says, "Look, I'm just trying to save his life and everything." It's like you understand to a point, but you're also like, no, that's just going to save the galaxy and things like that. Don't. Anyway, there's so much richness to it.
And we know that Luke does end up with the toy, so because we see him.
Right. Eventually,
so we know that arc completes with like Owen accepting the toy and being like, okay, we find some peace, even though there's still tension between us.
Yeah.
If it ends with that, oh man. Oh, okay. Sorry. Go on.
Well, what did you think about it? Did you get any Rey Kenobi vibes with the introduction there that Obi-Wan had?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it was like from a different perspective, like even
from a different point of view.
Different point of view. Because like the whole portion thing, on the Rey was the one that was asking on like, oh, half a portion. But here we get another, just a random character just saying, oh, I'm only getting half a portion just to feed my family. Like, but you also don't see like Obi-Wan being like, yeah, I'll do a mind trick here and like get you more portions. Like, nah. Like,
or even take mine.
Like,
even that.
That surprised me.
Yeah,
because my question is like, at the end of every scene that he's there at the fish market, he like cuts a little piece of fish and takes it for himself. And I'm like, wait, is he stealing the fish for himself, or do the employees?
He steals it for
his Eopie.
The camel thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he
I still want a name for it. I'm sorry, I still want a name for that Eopie. Please. I need that.
So cool.
Do you know if because I never read the Kenobi novel back in the day, but did it have a name in the novel?
I don't know. That's just like like on Bombadcast, we love the Eopie. We're our recap show. We're calling Eopie Vision. I'll go ahead and plug. But like, yeah. Anyway, I'm just being facetious. But anyway, please. Yeah, I think he was cutting that to feed.
Yeah.
The animal. That's anyway. There's the kindness of Kenobi, but also just it really surprising again that he didn't help that man, that he didn't do that, that he didn't do any of that.
But I think it's genius that they did do that, because it's just like, oh, this is
right.
Kenobi is not.
It's like showing how far into himself he went. That's why he initially doesn't even want to help. I mean, he really struggles on that one use of the Force that should have been easy for him, but he shut himself off so completely that it's like those connections were shut down.
He's depressed. Like, you
and
can see like the Jawa was saying like, you need to shower. Like that's kind of like a typical. That's a typical sign. Like you don't shower.
Like
you don't take care of it.
I love that he has a sassy Jawa friend. By the way, that's like it's so. That made me so joyous. I don't know why. I was just so joyful. Like he had that little Jawa. I was like, I need to shower. I could smell you. When I was coming in.
But you can tell he's so depressed that he's willing to like rebuy his own parts for the moisture evaporator.
Right.
Like, he's not just like, give that back to me. He's just like, no, I'll pay for it. Fine.
Okay.
But
like, he just pull it off of him and just like, give me that shit.
I think it's very telling of the difference between Rey's situation and his situation, though, because even though they have like a similar routine, Rey is kind of filled with hope because she was abandoned and she keeps expecting to be found, but Obi-Wan went to self-seclusion, had to deny who he was, and just like forced himself to do this relentless routine that just made him so incredibly depressed that all he can do is, help his little friend, watch Luke from afar, try to give him toys, have Uncle Owen reject them, and then have to deny the fact that he denies everything that he is when he doesn't help, because it is in his nature. And Obi-Wan was one of the most compelling, just like empathetic characters that there were. And to not even, he was second guessing himself about Uncle Owen possibly getting killed. Like, he was in there.
Right.
Original Obi would have walked right out. Wait, you're saying his family's gonna die? He would have given himself
He
up.
walked behind he went farther into the barn.
He went and hid.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to watch, to see him like that. So
right. Well, it reminds me of Clone Wars, like that the Slaves of Kadavo episode where the only way they could punish him is by punishing the people around him. And to see him go from that to it's such a big leap. But I don't know, it's like you were saying, like it's truly sad. I mean, if you thought you killed your best friend, a person you raised who you also considered your brother, your best friend, I mean, I would be very depressed. Like, I would
hope that we would all be upset if we kill our best friend. Yeah.
And I mean, people are like, he just leaves him there. Doesn't, like, he was burning alive and he walks away, and like, you got to think that sits with a person. And we're seeing the effects that it had on him for sure. Like, anyway, I think it's incredible, and I think it's cool that they are kind of like, we're establishing now. He went 10 years thinking he killed. He went 10 years thinking he killed Anakin.
Yep.
Like, oh my God.
What that does to somebody.
That is,
and how a Jawa just burn him every day in the cave. Yeah,
that's hell. Right. Yeah. That's hell. Like, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this has been amazing in terms of like the review, but now it comes like a little bit of the fun part. I mean, tomorrow we have like a new, when this episode release, we'll already have it, but for as of now, it hasn't been released. So episode part 3 comes out tomorrow. Do we have any theories about like what we can expect about what we want to see in episode 3, since that we'll officially hit the halfway point of the series? And Gerry, you're our guest, so why don't we start with you? What are your theories? What do you hope to see? Not just in part 3, but like in the series going forward, now that we have part 1 and 2 to start putting the pieces together.
Oh my God, I've talked so much already, but like, hey, listen here. I mean, I don't think I don't want to get my hopes up and everything. I'm not going to be like, shouting on the internet if any of this doesn't happen, but I think especially with the end of episode 2, the cutting to, like she says, Anakin's alive, and it cuts to him waking up in the back to tank. You hear the breathing and everything. I think we might get a little more of him, and maybe get some of that backstory we're wanting with Reva, excuse me. And like and a lot of people I've seen speculating on the internet, and apparently, if you watch with the subtitles, I've heard the girl who speaks first, it has her like listed as Reva. So she is one of the Padawans at the beginning, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, and that's why she's like so obsessed with it. I heard that too, and that makes sense.
Right.
I mean, that's what I thought too, but it's a shame to have it just confirmed by subtitles.
Right. Well, and that's how you confirm anything these days. Like, let's just watch the Disney Plus subtitles. But that even the camera, when it's panning, it starts with her, even that Padawan. So this is almost just as much her story. I wonder how much of a past she has with Obi-Wan. Like what happened? Something must have happened between them. It's either she wants something with Vader, like she wants to be like his number 2, she wants to be his apprentice, she wants to find favor with him, or it's like, I want revenge on this person who left us to die, or whatever,
or a combination of both, or something like that.
Exactly. Right. Like, give like I'm excited for that. I think we are going to get more of that. Like, not even though you're saying you wanted more of it, I think we are getting.
What if episode 3 is the flashbacks episode, and it's just like 3 flashbacks, like one for Reva, one for Obi-Wan, and one for Anakin? It's just like 3 different.
We're due for it, right? Like she just said, Anakin's alive, right? You've got to I know, right? Like, and again, not to get our hopes up.
And she knows that Darth Vader is Anakin, which I think was kept a very close secret. So it would only make sense that she was at the temple when some of this was happening, and they knew. And you can tell.
She saw him mowing everyone down. Yeah.
And they were calling him Darth Vader. Then probably, I'm sure the clones were calling him Lord Vader at that point. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, Obi-Wan knew, because Obi-Wan saw the clip of him kneeling in front of Palpatine and, rise Lord Vader. So you can see that Anakin's reaction initially isn't to Anakin is alive, it's to Lord Vader will be pleased. He goes like, what? Right. And then she's like, oh, you didn't know? And then he actually reaches out through the Force, which he hadn't, because he like calls out to Qui-Gon, but no response. But then he actually reaches out Anakin, and that's when Anakin opens his eyes and we see him in the tank, which is an awesome look, and the mask sounds better than ever, and it just chills you to no end. But what I really want to see, I mean, if they do the flashbacks episode next one, I'm fine with that too, but furthering the storyline, I want to see exactly where they end up, because with their interactions with Haja, the fake Jedi, it looks like he's part of a cell of rebels. Like right of that nascent rebellion of the rebels era.
Sketchy rebels.
The cells.
But rebels nonetheless.
Like we're gonna make money doing this, but we are literally helping people. We are trying. So
I want to see who is on the other end to receive them. If it's somebody we know, if it's somebody we don't. I think it's very interesting. We already saw Tamara once.
Oh my God!
Stop it, Mo. What about you? What are your thoughts going forward?
I love everything I've heard here. So all of that. I guess I'll add. No, I want to see like a little more of like that reverse like master apprentice of like Leia teaching Obi-Wan like or maybe just making him remember what it's to be a Jedi. And I think that's gonna be, if anything, I'll prefer to see that, like, and at the same time, maybe who knows, maybe like Obi-Wan and Leia will show like some of her powers, like a little bit. So it's all possible. All right.
Oh baby Leia.
I mean, you can already tell. You can already tell that she's being a positive influence on him. She's already like dragging him back to life and back to his powers and back to his compassion. So I think it's going to be really great if the reason that we really get Obi-Wan to the state of serenity that we know is through his interactions with Leia. I mean, that is so good. Oof.
So good.
I know.
And the cool thing about this show is just that based on what we've gotten so far, even if we're wrong, we know we're gonna get something good, because just like the whole bringing in Leia and do what she's been doing so far is just like net positive to me.
It's already
what
good.
The potential of the show is, and it's good. I think everything after this is just gravy, because I don't know. I'm a sucker for Star Wars. Even Star Wars that I'm not a fan of, it's still like, hey, it's still better to have more Star Wars.
But this is really
but
good
this
Star
is
Wars.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, the best since I love The Last Jedi and everything. It feels like the best like experience since like The Force Awakens or something. Like, it feels like people are excited again. Well, most people who aren't pieces of shit are excited.
Exactly.
For this.
Correct.
Well, but that's the point. Not to like give too much clout to like those people.
No.
It's interesting because they're complaining about everything, but yet they're the first ones to go see everything. It's just like if it's gonna make you angry, maybe it's time to just bow out and be like, hey, maybe this isn't for me anymore. Maybe I should just find the fandom that makes me happy and I enjoy their content.
Or just keep rewatching the stuff that you liked.
Or keep rewatching the stuff that you like.
Yeah.
Isn't it better just invest in happiness and positivity and like a community than to just double down on negativity and like attacks and being hostile? It's not worth it. We're here to have fun and enjoy what we enjoy and like, and celebrate everything. So far, Obi-Wan Kenobi has definitely been a celebration of all things Star Wars that we absolutely love. Everything from the prequels and now obviously the original trilogy.
I mean, it's been 20 years. It's supposed to have been 10, and he looks like it's been 2.
He looks fantastic.
He has not aged too much.
He looks so
which is
great.
it's a nitpick, but but I want to age like Ewan, not like Alec Guinness.
Of course.
We're gonna be
but he still does.
Or at least
Uh-huh.
I was just saying, at least get their the buttocks doctor, whoever does the buttocks.
Right.
But I do love that Ewan tries so hard to like not imitate Alec Guinness, but keep his soul around, like the way that he like the way he speaks. Like, I love every time he does that. That is so Alec Guinness. I mean, it's in the details, and they've got it this time. They're doing very, very well with honoring the old and paving a way for the future. And it feels, even though it's old characters, it feels new. It feels like life has been breathed back into Star Wars, and I am here for it, and I love it, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, because that's something with the prequels that like I've always had, like, well, with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith specifically, is that there was so much CGI there, and like the CGI at the time wasn't where it is now, that sometimes it felt a little too shiny, right? Didn't feel like
real, like you were there,
real.
like
So like to see like all that prequel stuff, but in the way that like George Lucas would have wanted it to, like in just reality, I'm just like, yes. Finally this is the not to bash the prequels, because VFX wasn't there at the time. I'm just like, okay, this is the culmination. We're there. This was George Lucas's dream. This is what he wanted to do. Well, actually I think his dream is to get rid of actors, but that's besides the point. But we're there, and it's beautiful, and it's time to just celebrate Star Wars. But I think with that, I think we've hit like a very good stopping point, because and on a positive note. But before we wrap up, Gerry, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and Bombadcast, and what are your links? So please plug anything you want right now.
Oh, fantastic! Well, again, thank you all so much for having me on.
Thanks for coming.
I'm glad, again, it was so awesome meeting Goose at Celebration. He did so good at the panel. Wish you all could have been there.
I know.
But hey, next time, we'll see what we can do. But anyway, again, it's just been so nice meeting all of you here and everything. But you can find me at the Canon Junkie on Twitter. You can follow the Bombadcast at Bombadcast. We do live shows every Thursday at about 9 p.m. Eastern. You figure out that you can do the math on your own from there. But we have started billing ourselves as a YouTube live show experience. And that sounds very pompous. But you know what we mean if you watch the show, if you go in there, you know what we mean. It's we do a lot of things. The Bombadcast is, if anything, an experience. I'm just not going to say it might be like the least trippy experience you probably ever had in your life. So, but again, thank you all so much for having me on. I felt so honored to get the call. It was like, hey, we just met. You want to come on? And like, absolutely. And we can't wait to get you all on Bombadcast, frankly.
Of course.
Whenever you want.
Future. Please. So, again, thank you all so much.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy that you love Baby Leia as much as we do.
Oh my God.
I can't get over it.
It's like my other child.
I'm gushing here. Yeah, I know. And this is a character that I've loved since I was a little girl. So to see this version of her, it's blowing me away. So thank you so much again for joining us. We'll see what happens in the next 4 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which, oh my God. So looking forward to it. But anyway, we've been going on for a while. We are Triad of the Force. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to like, subscribe, ring that bell. You know where you find us, anywhere. All podcasts can be found everywhere that podcast can be found. Sorry, I've been talking for so long at this point. Just search for Triad of the Force and you will find us. We have t-shirts, we have other cool stuff. So just, Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Oh shit. There we go.
You represent on my water bottle. I'm just saying. You made the water bottle. Thank you.
And please share our love with us in comments about Reva and baby Leia and Obi-Wan himself and everybody else that you think we left out and didn't give as much love, because clearly we are single-minded in our obsessions. So
yes.
Until next time, may the force be with you.